So this is somebody who moved to America from Brazil at the age of 19 years old, has only had their license for 5 years, bought 34 investment properties last year. The goal was what, 60 this year?
60 this year, yeah.
60 this year. Sold 80 houses as a real estate agent, earning commissions on last year too. Hi, I'm Brian Icenhower, and I am here with Hal Sousa.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome. Yeah, I'm so happy you could be here too. Hal and I have worked together for about 3 years now, and I really wanted him to share his story with you. And I'm just gonna let you tell it, man. It's a one of a kind. And so anyway, let him have it. Tell him how we got here.
Thank you for having me, Brian. My name is Hal Sousa. I was born and raised in Brazil. I moved here. I was 19 years old. I didn't know any English. I worked at a farm. Slowly, I didn't want to work to physically outside, so I wanted to learn English. I wanted to do more. I started working at a restaurant, which I learned a lot more English during the time. I was taking ESL classes at the adult school here in Visalia, which is English as a second language for immigrants. Meanwhile, I had been saving some money. I needed to do something with it because I was working a lot of hours and saving, and I started investing in real estate. And at some time, after I bought 2-3 properties, my realtor said, "Hey, have you thought about investing in real estate? You're pretty aggressive about it." And I'm like, why not? I'd like to get my license and get started with it.
So you've been licensed now for 5 years.
5 years, Brian, yes.
Right, 5 years. Tell them some of the jobs that you had over that period of time.
Well, Brian, my first job, as a matter of fact, my first day of work was Christmas Day in 2006 when I got to the US. I had been here for 3 weeks with no job, no work. And Christmas Day, I woke up at 4 in the morning to go work at a dairy. Happy as it gets.
So you're doing manual labor.
American dream. I'm here from Brazil to work, to make a better living for my family.
Couldn't speak a lick of English.
No, sir, didn't know a word of it. Yeah. I mean, I know good morning and thank you and please.
Right. then you moved into working as a dishwasher.
Yeah, I worked at a dishwasher at a restaurant here in Visalia. And then meanwhile, I didn't want to be washing dishes because I wanted to do better. Remember, I wanted to better myself. And bettering myself from dishwashing would be serving tables at the time.
Right, sure, yeah. So what you started doing, and this is when you started to save money.
Yeah. I was working. I never had any money growing up, no money. So the little that I had, I was good at managing the very little I had. So I didn't spend much. I budgeted and whatnot. Yeah.
Right. So what's interesting is before you got your real estate license, you were working in a restaurant, and you had already bought 7 houses.
Yeah.
Before you bought a house for yourself.
Yeah. My friends made fun of me when I say this, but I owned 7 rental properties. And while living at my mom's house, and my friends gave me a hard time for that. Yeah. I just hadn't found the one,
Right. Okay, which is amazing. I want to fast forward now because now let's talk about last year, right?
Yeah.
Last year, in 1 year alone, as a real estate agent, you sold 80 houses.
Yes, sir.
But I think what's even more impressive than that, which that's impressive, man, right? But you purchased 34 investment homes in 1 year.
Yeah, it was a busy year, Brian. Things picked up. Things have been good to me. I made some relationships with other investors, which I can't fund all these by myself yet. At some point, I intend to get there. However, building those relationships basically just opened the doors for, hey, here are the funds. Go play with it. And that's one of the things that I'm good at. Is I know how to find deals. I find the deals, and if I have the financing, I have the relationships, I keep buying them. I did 34 last year, and the goal for this year is to do 60 of them.
So yeah, now we're looking at 60 this year. And what I think you actually have a bigger superpower that most people don't have, and that superpower is your ability to budget. I mean, most people would not buy 7 investment properties before buying one for themselves. Most people would not store enough money away from being a dishwasher to be able to put down payments on 7 investment properties.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like your job to save, to create passive income, I think is what becomes your, you got a lot of positive attributes, don't get me wrong. But that's impressive stuff. That's impressive stuff.
Yeah. And like I said, I didn't know I was doing this, but I was already doing it. I was living within my means. I still do today. I have a lot more than I had 10 years ago.
Right.
However, I still live within my means, and I still budget. I'm good at budgeting, and I want to keep growing because, like we talked about earlier during our mastermind, the more you feed the investment bracket, the more you add to your mix, which could be a hobby you have, or traveling, whatever, for your family. And I believe in that. I'm living it.
Right. And I think what he's talking about is one of the things that we coach and train on is, we have a budget. So just like a normal budget that anyone would think of, where you actually know all your monthly expenses, and we can roughly estimate your income, especially in real estate. We know roughly how much gross commission income and net commission income you earned last year. Divide that by 12 months, we have income. Then we know all your expenses, and we know how much of a difference there is between your income and expenses. And whatever that difference is, that's the money that we have discretion about, because you have fixed expenses that you can't change. Maybe you have a mortgage, maybe a car payment, maybe you got to eat, so groceries, utilities,
etc.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Those are fixed, non-movable objects, right?
You need those every month,
right?
No matter what.
But the discretionary spending is how much we have left over. It's basically the difference when we subtract all your expenses from your income, right? Mm-hmm. And what we always teach is there's two things that we have to make sure that we make payments for, that we don't usually account for. Number one, it's your tax savings. We know we're going to have to pay taxes on our income at the end of the year. So we need to allocate a certain amount of your income, whether that's 20%, 30%, 40% of your income. Talk to your accountant on that. And they'll give you a rough idea of how much you should be allocating per month towards a tax savings account. I recommend putting that into your own checking account, so that's there. And when tax time comes around, you can just pay your taxes out of that and keep the rest. That's free after-tax money for you to have fun with. The second one, and this is where you've been so good, is your investment account. Okay, yeah. We want to make sure that we treat this like a payment, just like a utility bill payment, except it's usually a bigger one. That we're going to stash a certain amount of that income away and almost make it a payment. I even recommend having another bank account, so we keep funding that bank account with a certain percentage and a certain payment every single month. Then what's left over is your miscellaneous. That's your fun money right now. Right? Yeah. That's your fun money right now. And you'll see how much discretion you have over how much you want to spend. So now we've got massive motivation, like you've had, to keep generating more business, to sell more real estate. Then we might be able to increase the amount we put into to our forced investment account. Yeah. We might be able to increase that in our budget and just start paying more and more per month towards that. Or we might be able to want to spend more and have more fun right now in our miscellaneous spending account. And those are decisions you get to make when you know.
That brings me back to what I said earlier. The more you feed your investment bracket, your investment account, the more you can buy, which is going to create more passive or whatever that investment is for you, and which will allow you to do more at the end of the day.
Right. So if we're investing in more investments that produce passive income for us, like a rental property that gives us positive cash flow, that's going to actually increase the amount of income we take in, which then increases the amount that we can invest every single month.
Yeah.
And that's what you've done, is you've just continued to increase your monthly income through positive cash flow from your investments.
Let me ask you this question. When was the last time you went to sleep and made money while sleeping?
Yeah, it's hard to do unless
only landlords can do that.
Right. And a lot of real estate agents don't. The reason I say this is so important, I think this surprises you sometimes, but doesn't me. There are a lot of agents that sell a lot of real estate, right? Mm-hmm. But they don't necessarily have a lot of wealth.
Yeah, because they don't have the budgeting that we're talking about. They don't have the discipline.
Correct. And it's just a matter of opening up an Excel spreadsheet. You could even write it out on a yellow piece of paper and taking a look.
Just knowing it.
Right. It's almost like if you step on a scale every single day and look at how much you weigh, you're going to become self-aware, and you watch without even trying. You'll start to watch what you eat, and you'll start to actually you increase the likelihood, at least, that you're going to drop weight just by being aware and knowing your numbers. And the same thing's true with budgeting. If we can budget and put in a couple different payments that you need to make for your taxes and for your investment account, suddenly you're going to start to see those things grow, right? Whatever's measured, whatever's tracked, it tends to grow.
Yes, sir. And while budgeting and doing all that, I was able to purchase several rentals, and those rentals are now funding my flipping business, which, like I said, I do work with investors. And however, these rentals are starting to pay themselves off, and now I'm able to get funds from the rentals to put on my flipping business, to where I'm not paying a high interest to somebody else, or rather involving somebody else in my business. I'm just playing with my own funds.
Which means more cash flow for you, since we're not paying any debt payment.
Exactly. And I'm not against of borrowing the money to do the deals. However, I like to play with my own money as much as I can within my comfort zone, and I have to go outside my circle and go out and get funds from elsewhere.
How old are you right now?
I'm 30. I'm gonna be 31 this month.
31 this month, right? Okay, so this is somebody who moved to America from Brazil at the age of 19 years old, has only had their license for 5 years, bought 34 investment properties last year. The goal was what, 60 this year?
60 this year, yes.
60 this year. Sold 80 houses as a real estate agent, earning commissions on last year too. It's already talking about budgeting, spreadsheets, passive income. Man, Yelly, it has been a wonderful, wonderful getting to know you and getting to know your business.
Thank you for having me again, Brian. It's been a pleasure doing this, and hopefully to do this in another 3 to 5 years and tell you a better story.
That's right. That's a good idea. Thanks again, everybody.